Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new year. I am Payman Ascari. You're tuning in to Cerberus at the Improv, and who else do we got here? Mr. Timothy Knight. How's the new year treating you so far?
Good afternoon. We're listening to Andre's streaming cast.
Andre, you're also simulcasting streaming to your YouTube account, so we're
My
hoping to
my
break the
four,
zero
four,
viewership.
my 4.5 million viewers
All
virtual
right.
virtually.
Actually, this is shaping out to be a good year. We have one viewer. That's
That's
a little
good.
above
The
average.
audio.
I told you about negative rates, so do not push your luck. -3.
You can't take away more than we have, man. We're not going to go into viewer debt.
Don't tread the government.
I'm still hearing that other stream.
What do you really have two streams open?
No, nothing is open.
Two audio signals.
Yeah, I actually had this problem on the first episode, so I shouldn't make fun of Tim. Good luck finding that, buddy. Probably what happened is YouTube is playing with the live stream. While Mr. Knight is troubleshooting that, I guess the first topic that we wanted to talk about was the Liberal Party implosion, right, Andre?
Implosion, yes. Is it the right word? I always use the same word, collapse, like the collapse of a civilization. If the Liberal Party collapse, the civilization will collapse with it. Maybe we have to go through this self-destruction. Is it possible for a political party? I remember it was in 1994 with Kim Campbell, the Conservative Party, who ended up with 2 seats.
2 seats.
And one of the seats was held by Jean Charest, who became Prime Minister of Quebec after that. So, and you know Pablo Rodriguez, who resigned, now he wants to run to be the leader of the Quebec Liberal Party. The provincial branch.
So are we shuffling cards vertically as well as horizontally?
It's always the same thing. You just move your piece around like chessboard. And they have the same salary. They have different no responsibility, but another title.
Yeah, but this is devastating. Like going from I guess he's not majority right now, but like the government to 6 seats. I know this happened with you mentioned 2 seats, but this is embarrassing.
Well, Trudeau doesn't seem to be very embarrassed about the situation. I think his cabinet is.
I think Trudeau already has his exit strategy.
Well, I'm pretty sure you will have some job at the United Nations. He will be a consultant, an senior advisor.
He'll be working under Soros or Schwab.
Yes, I suppose, or maybe Bill Gates or Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. There's a lot of people now. Maybe they will be out of work after January 20th. So, and that Ursula von der Leyen, she's sick now. She has a pneumonia, and she postponed all her international meeting for 2 weeks. I said, we will have 2 weeks to flatten the curve of the globalists. So that we don't know what will happen. And we still have 17 days and counting.
Yeah.
And after practically 3 terrorist attacks in the United States.
Yes.
We will have 2 very interesting weeks, politically speaking.
Sorry. What's the third terrorist attack? I know the one in New Orleans and the Tesla.
Oh, sorry.
You know something we don't know?
Spoke too soon. Screen goes blue.
We will be censored by the SCMP in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No. I'm counting. When I say 3, it's because many geopolitical analysts, they say that there will be a huge amount of attempt before the January 17th. I can predict that. As honestly, I feel it. I feel how it is going right now in the States. The CIA, or I don't know, the FBI was releasing a press release about there would be 1,700 sleeping cell in United States ready to act. So it is not funny. First of all, it is not funny, but I think.
So if they're able to count them, how come they're not able to neutralize them?
Maybe because they don't, or maybe because they are controlling them with remote control. You know the CIA, you know the Pentagon, you know the FBI, you know all the lobbies. They all have different agenda. For example, in Syria, they all have different agenda, and they disagree on the foreign policy of the United States. So, and Canada is following. It is not very different. And I think that the demise of the liberal now, it's not only the wake up of people. It's, I think they push the global agenda so far and so fast that people are starting to feel it. It's not ideological. They feel it in their day-to-day lives, and I have the impression that they're starting to push back.
So are we moving from a period of ideology to a period of pathology?
I think so. It's not what I wish, but I think it is coming, and it is everywhere. We saw what happened in Romania when the Court of Appeal rejected the appeal of the elected president. He won the first round of the presidential election, and now he's in the Supreme Court. And they said if the Supreme Court does not accept the appeal, it means that the political structure is gone. It's over. Then you understand it's a fascist organization. It's as simple as that. After that, you have many ramifications and many motivation from people. They don't want to share power, first of all, and they are fighting between each other. And we see it in the United States, but in Canada, what do we see? They are amateurs in Canada. Well, they don't have any political knowledge. There's no diplomacy. They cannot talk to each other. They cannot debate rationally. They are emotional, vulgar. They are not educated. They never refer to anything except their own ideology. So what I see now, and you see it in all political party on the federal scene. So I would say what we will see the next week. I think we had this discussion about the prorogation of the parliament. What if Justin Trudeau hold on to power until 2026?
So explain to me, because I'm stupid. I still don't know what prorogue is.
Well, prorogation, it is the suspension of the parliament. And I think I read today in the law of the parliament that they can go to work 1 day per year. It is enough. After that, they're paid. If they don't have any legislator to work on, they're just paid at home. They don't have it. The government can work like that. The institution can work like that because all the bureaucracy is there. All the programs will be applied. Look at what happened when they break the ceiling of the debt in United States. They start paying a public worker. They have problem with but the system continues to work. There's an inertia. So my feeling is that he could push as much as possible to save the ship, maybe see another leader. And even if people don't want to, they want to go into an election. And if what Jack Meeson said, he said, we will bring down the government. What he will tell his caucus or his all the MPs, maybe he will say, I will vote against it, but I will let you vote with your conscience. meaning that you don't have to follow the line of the party and you can do whatever you want. So everybody can play now individually, and the government will still continue for weeks, maybe months.
Can I jump in here? Emily Dugan, that incident in BC where the woman said to Trudeau, get the blank out of BC.
Yeah.
That's very damaging to his brand, whatever people think of her conduct. You saw it in his face. Like, he couldn't, in a democracy, you can't exactly say, like, grab her or kill her. He couldn't swear back at her like his father did with the, showing the middle finger. I think his brand is damaged.
It is, but it's not the first time he does that. I remember during, it was before COVID, before the pandemic, there was a woman who started shouting in a liberal rally, and he said, "Madam, you're not welcome in Canada." She's a Canadian citizen. So that was the first thing. And I saw another video when he was asked by a young man a very hard question. And he you know how he is with his sleeves rolled, and he's with the microphone, and he's laughing. He continues to speak while the security guard evacuate the men.
Right.
And he does this all the time. So I think he doesn't care about his brand.
Yeah.
No. Let me rephrase that. Like, this was different though. This was like damaging to the Liberal Party brand. This was damaging to the Prime Minister's office. I just don't see him. I see no option except for him to resign.
I don't want him to resign. I want people to stop asking him to resign. I want him arrested while he still sits in the chair. I do.
No, I think Timothy is right, because he broke the Constitution, and he was so aggressive and arrogant, and he really acted like a tyrann.
Yeah, he resigns. He gets away with it. I want him arrested while he still sits in the chair. I want all 338 of those SOBs arrested while they still sit in the chair.
You know, Timothy, why they cannot be arrested? Because, for example, we, the people, I will use the phrase of the Constitution of the United States, we don't have the physical power to do it. Because we need, I would say, unity, and we need, I would say, a unified awareness. And I don't see it. We all have good intention of trying to bring down, I would say, an authoritarian government. But how do we do it? We think that we can do it politically, but it seems that it is not working, because in European Union, they canceled the election in Romania. Now the government in Germany with Olaf Scholz is in great danger. And they say that if the alternative for Deutschland wins the election in February, the European Union will cancel the election. It is not a joke anymore. It is happening in real time. They are canceling elections. So we would want to have the traitors prosecuted. We will not be able to do it politically. It will not be a peaceful passage of power.
Do we not have one good deputy minister? Do we not have one good high-level bureaucrat? Do we not have one good thesis or RCMP who will stand up and say, this is against the law? Walk into the House of Commons on camera. You're all under arrest. And have the bodies behind him to start handcuffing people. If
we would have a chance to do it, we would do it. My feeling is that we would do it. I think as a citizen, we have to wait for an opportunity. I would refer again to the Freedom Convoy. There were some people who got up saying, wait a second, we're not against this vaccination campaign, but we're against mandatory vaccine. We do not believe we want freedom of choice for our health. I will not use the my body, my choice, because this is a stupid phrase. I would say I will choose according to my conscience to take a shot, an experimental shot. And 1 year before, the trucker were our guardian angel, bringing food, and then after that they had the plague. And they stood up. And I think in 2025 we will see something like that again. Not necessarily with the trucker, but people are starting to be more aware from coast to coast, except in Quebec, maybe.
I just wanted to say, people like us, we're the anomaly. So you're asking, why has no one been arrested? Most people aren't aware of any of this, but I have noticed that they've taken a hands-off approach. Now they're kind of saying like, what's going on with Trudeau? When is he going to resign? Like the people are finally willing to accept his resignation.
Because I mean, I'm seeing an increasing amount of well-reasoned outrage on social media and whatnot. And it's still a relatively small minority, but the language they're using last year was knee-jerk, angry, childish cussing and insults, slander. And the shifting more toward a more rational, solutions-based dialogue, or trying to arrange these things. But that's just in social media. Social media represent the active people on social media represents like 1% of the Canadian population. Of the active engagers, the quote unquote influencers, the ones who continuously pop up on your feed in different varieties and whatnot. But at the ground level, where is we need to be solutions based, and asking these people to resign is not a solution. Who fills the hole? Because the hole will be filled. Look what NDP did with Jack Layton, stormed into Quebec and took how many seats?
It was 45, 40, yes.
Right? And some of these were ballot only candidates. Right. One young woman who was a ballot only candidate found out that she became an MP while she was on holiday in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas, exactly.
So we know that it's possible if the mood, right? If the mood in a district or the mood in a region or if the mood is right and a party can capitalize on that, we know that pretty amazing things can happen. I mean, I'm not an NDP fan, but they did the right thing at the right time. The problem is they're largely lunatic. So these people that we're done with, they resign. Who fills the hole? And right now, the CPC is preparing to fill the hole. My question, when I look at graphs like we were just showing, are okay. So we're down to 6 Liberal seats in this, simulation. Where did they all go? Do you think for one flat second that a Liberal voter is going to vote Conservative? Where are all these blue seats coming from? You have to convert them from somewhere. They have to be recruited from somewhere. How does the Bloc go up, the NDP go up, and only the Liberals be punished? Nobody cares about the Greens because they're on a drinking holiday.
Yes, right? And Theresa May always shows us the lead with this.
And so the Bloc goes up, NDP goes up, Conservative goes up, and somehow that's all split out. That's all taken out of liberal supporters. I don't see it. I don't see it.
What are you thinking? They're not going into the non-voter pool?
How can they? Non-voters don't participate in polls. Like psychologically, non-voters are non-participants. You call a non-voter for a political poll, they're like, not interested, click. They won't even have a discussion. They won't even vent about what they think about. They'll just not interested, click, and go back to their life, right? So I don't have, and this is Angus Reid. So I mean, he's a paid actor anyway. I've stopped trusting Angus Reid about 12, 14 years ago.
Timothy, you're right about polls. We always say polls they are not. Gilles Duceppe was the leader of Bloc Québécois. He was always saying the real poll is the day of the election, but still. Look at what happened in the United States. The Hispanic voters and the Black voters started to shift toward Trump when they started to, they nominated Kamala Harris, which was complete. I don't know what they did, who was advising them. But the Hispanic and the Black vote started to shift toward Trump for many reasons. We can talk about historical reason, economical reason. And it worked. It was a red wave. It was incredible, no matter what we think of Trump. And what you mentioning about the liberal voters, I have the same feeling that they are fed up. Will they flip for the Conservative? I would doubt it. Like you said, maybe they would go more with the NDP. And in Quebec, we look at the number of seats you have in Quebec for the Conservative. It's always a battle between the Liberal and the Bloc since 1993. And when the Conservative goes a little bit higher in Quebec, it's the Bloc who suffers. So it's quite fascinating that we have this change in the political picture. How come we know people, they're not voting for Pierre Poilievre. They're voting against Trudeau.
It's another Canadian behavior. It's another protest vote.
Exactly. A protest vote.
I mean, I'm 56, and all of my life, all across Canada, Ontario, Newfoundland, Manitoba, here in BC, every federal election, the largest voice is the protest vote.
Always.
It's like, people, grow up, pay attention, use your vote wisely, and everybody gets angry, and everybody, I don't know, maybe it's just easier to be angry and mark your X where you're told to mark it.
Angry, and I would say emotional. Maxime Bernier this week posted a comment on X. He said, maybe I will run against Trudeau in Papineau, because Trudeau is in real danger in his own riding.
Yes.
Can you imagine that he would ride against the Prime Minister? First of all, the people in Quebec, they don't trust Maxime Bernier for many reasons. You can see the polls. They're always voting historically against the government or against the establishment. It's not better when they vote for the Bloc, because the Bloc is what? It's a nonsense. It's an oxymoron. But imagine Maxime Bernier would run in Papineau against Trudeau. People in Papineau will have to choose. Do they choose to vote? Will they choose to vote, like you said, in reaction against the government or for ideas? And I think that now lots of people are so emotional that they cannot vote with their reason.
Yeah, and I think people are on the street, not just those of us on internet, social media, because we talk all day, because that's all we do is keyboard warrior. But
exactly,
the people on the street, the ones who are saying, honey, one of us has to get a second job, right? Because now you're like right straight into your wallet. There's only 24 hours in a day. I'm only making this much money. There is no more. And so where are these people going to go, right? Regarding Maxime Bernier, he's damaged his reputation in Quebec.
He damaged it, or people damaged it for him, because I understood.
I'm not surprised that other people are slagging, because other people will slag, right? So, but my concern is, where are the Liberal voters going if these polls, and Angus Reid, the organization, are not stupid, but it's clear that they have their bias, right? So where are these Liberal voters going? Are they going to NDP? Are they going to Bloc? Are they going to Conservative? And then me, not that I'm a political scientist, but if I was, I would be thinking, what are the personality types of these three alternative parties that are actually hidden within the Liberal Party of Canada? You know what I mean? So you look at the personality types, whether somebody is a conservative-minded individual, more centrist, or more liberal-minded, right? Where conservative, they tend to be the builders, and the more liberal-minded tend to be the artists and whatnot, right? So, but personality types, not politic types, right? So, is our politicking appealing to the personality type, or is it appealing to our political affiliation? And if it's appealing to the personality type, how the hell does a Liberal get conservatives and centrists and separatists under its banner?
Well, I can answer your question, and I think this is important what you're talking about, personality type.
Yes.
I'm reading a book about the personality effect, or the ethic effect. And the personality effect is always about emotion. You know, communicating vessel, 3 container all connected together, and they all go from one to another, the NDP, the Liberal, and the Bloc. Depending on their historical context, they will shift from one to another, but they will never go to the Conservative.
So if that's the case, and that's interesting that they can actually group the 3 into, you know,
three vessels that are connected,
right? So that they will move back and forth depending on where they are emotionally at the time they place their X. So that being the case, so then the Liberals lost seats to the Bloc and the Liberals lost seats to the NDP, but that means they still lost how many? So there's 25, I think, the NDP right now. So that's 11.
They lost, yes.
And the Bloc right now has
34.
Huh?
They have 34, I think.
34. So that's a big jump for them.
They jump 24.
So then this is Quebec voters protesting Trudeau by voting Bloc.
Okay, 2 tendencies. The first one, historical French-Canadian tendency, and the rest of Canada that you already mentioned, the West that goes and Ontario that will go Conservative, because there's no Bloc Ontario, there's no Bloc Alberta, there's no party, federal party who is working against a country. That's quite fascinating. The Bloc is there to vote against to work against Canada. Yes. They always say their motto, the mission of the Bloc is, we will defend the interest of Quebec.
Right.
And the scam works since 1993.
93. And nobody stops them.
Nobody stops them because voters in Quebec, they vote emotionally. They are politically illiterate. They do not. I watch a lot of comments, and I'm always astonished to see how people are illiterate. And even when I have discussion at the pharmacy, the shopping center, the supermarket, wherever I go, sometimes we have small discussion. And Quebecers, they are emotionally illiterate politically. And it's shocking. And I tell myself, how do we evolve the awareness of those people? You cannot make somebody being aware of something. It's the person who will decide to.
Did you want to wrap up, Tim? It's a segue to the next section.
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, that's real quick. How many seats do the Liberals currently have?
It is one. I checked just earlier. It was one. Now it is 160. 154. 154. They lost.
And
they lost 6 or 10.
NDP is 25, I think.
Yes.
And you said the Bloc is about 35.
Exactly.
And NDP. The Conservative is 125, I think.
Conservative one a little bit less.
Right. So let's say 120. 150.
The Conservative is 120 now. They had 119 in the last election. The Liberal, they had 160 seats. Now they will have 153.
Yeah.
The Bloc has 33. They won one by-election, and the NDP stays the same, 25-25.
So the
big loser are the Liberals.
Yeah. So according to this poll, Angus Reid, like I said, whom I haven't trusted for at least 14, 15 years, is projecting a 144 seat loss.
Yes.
For the Liberals.
Exactly. This is astonishing. It's
right. I mean,
can we trust the poll?
Yeah. So NDP is supposed to gain 11. Bloc is supposed to gain 23, which is astonishing. But like you noted, there's a very high probability that those 23 going over to the Bloc are from the Liberals. And the CPC is on to pick up more than 120. So basically double.
Basically double.
So that suggestion is, well, the only place that they're going to get those 121 votes from is the Liberal Party.
Well, you know, the concept is when you have two rounds in an election, you have the reserve vote. Some people, they will vote for a party. If the party doesn't win or doesn't go for on the first round, they will have what they call reserve vote. But
Yes.
we have it here. We have one round of voting, so
Yes.
you cannot have reserve vote. That's why
Right.
I talk about communicating vessel.
So somehow 121 Liberal voters are going to vote CPC. I don't believe it.
Somebody told me something. You got the 40-40 rule, so 40% of voters, they are brain dead, they will vote Liberal. 40% are brain dead, they will vote Conservative, and it's that slim margin of 20% that shifts back and forth.
So
it's not that all the liberal, but it's not all the Liberals. They finally wake up and they're like, "Wow, we made a mistake voting for this party." They just need that slim majority.
Okay, in those statistics, when you think
CPC, right? That's the problem. And I appreciate what you're saying, and statistically, I completely agree with that. The whole 40-40, 60-40 rules, etc. I agree with these things because they're proven out. But the fact remains, CPC is projected to double their seats. The only place they're going to get that from is the Liberals.
Yeah,
or or the non-voters. I wanted to emphasize the turnout in an election.
Yes.
35-40% of non-voters.
Right.
Do you think that the polling agency they take this in account when they
I think they can, but I think they don't.
They don't. That's what I think. I think they don't take it in account for many reasons. And you still arrive at the election and you still have 35-40% of the population who do not vote.
Yeah. I think Marco Mendicino's boring. This is better.
Oh, wait! Before we get there, you guys mentioned the Separatist Party. So what's going to happen when the Separatist Party becomes the official opposition? I'm looking at you, Equalization.
Well, I can talk about $13.6 billion. I was in the hospital with my wife yesterday. She was hospitalized for a very serious injury. And I can tell you, the budget of Quebec for the healthcare system is $61 billion per year. And the system is collapsing. So, of course, they are very happy to receive a check from $13.6 billion. And if the Bloc becomes the official opposition, and I can remind you that it almost happened a couple of 2 decades ago, 2004, 2005, when the Conservatives were in the minority, the Bloc would have made an alliance with the NDP to become the government at the time. Right. That was shocked. The rest of Canada was completely shocked by the proposition. It is like it is a putsch against the country. So imagine now they would be in position of the official opposition. I speak for Canadian, but from Quebec.
Right. Yeah.
Because the opposition is supposed to challenge the government for all Canadians, not only for Quebecers.
That's right. Yeah.
That's another way to blackmail.
Like what is Quebec going to do? Like on the issue of immigration, will they act in the best interests of Canada? I'm assuming they will.
They can't. They don't have the power to do it. It's a federal jurisdiction.
Sorry, Bloc Québécois, when they become official opposition, will they vote the right way and limit immigration, or
they're crazy?
No, because the Bloc Québécois says the Bloc is for immigration. They are there they are there next to Trudeau and Jacques Meeting since 10 years, and they never voted against the immigration policy of the Liberals. So they will not challenge the new government that would be the Conservative. They will not challenge them on many aspects. They will say, we will defend the interest of Quebec. Okay, what about other Canadian? You do not, you're the official opposition. You do not represent them?
I think that seeing that they are separatists in Quebec only, in regards to their support for immigration, I think that they will push for the larger majority of new immigrants to be moved into the other major population centers and not Quebec.
That's a hypothesis.
Right? So that hypothetically they would promote mass immigration and promote multiculturalism because these are right, but they will push for those new populations to be put anywhere but Quebec.
You know, there's a contradiction in Quebec. Legault is from Coalition Avenir Québec. He's a recycled politician from the Parti Québécois, but he's a neoliberal, and he was pushing Yves-François Blanchet to bring down the government. The Bloc Québécois is supposed to be what we call social democrat. They're not. They're not social democrat. They're part of the global agenda. They just play in different team, but it's the same game. It's the same game.
Let's keep this going. What about oil and gas, like pipelines? Are the Bloc at least self-aware enough to know that what's good for Alberta is good for Quebec?
No, because they voted against the natural liquid gas harbor in Capuna.
Yeah, but like, are they at least smart enough to know that the equalization payments where it comes from?
They know where it comes from, but they don't care. As long as Alberta is stupid enough to pay Quebec, Quebec will not stop. Alberta is responsible too for that, because they continue to pay. And they say Quebec are social parasite. Why do we pay? Stop.
Yeah.
Just
I don't care what you call me as long as the check doesn't bounce.
What does Danielle Smith do? Stop paying.
Yeah, turn off the tap.
Exactly.
Like how can she stop?
Yes, she can. And CRA
she can challenge the federal government.
And we want it. She needs it. And this could force the Constitution open to deal with equalization.
Deal with it,
and it could even force the constitutional argument on logistics for natural resources moving across Canada. It includes pipelines moving through Quebec territory, whether they like it or
not.
But for some stupid reason, Alberta will not turn off the tap. Why? They're afraid of one of the most underfunded tax revenue organizations in the entire planet. Please.
You know, I saw a graphic this week, yesterday. The evaluation of the natural resource of Canada now, including Quebec, with Anticosti, with $3,000 billion of gas, potential gas. The evaluation is $33 trillion. That's the federal debt of the United States. And we do not develop this energy. We have no national policy. We fight against each other for historical, whatever it is, linguistic reason.
Yeah.
What about immigration? We do not have this policy. And that's why I say in Alberta, they are as stupid as we are in Quebec, because let's say you finance me all the time. One day you say, maybe, man, you grow up and be responsible, go get a job. But until you cut the funding, I will not get up and go. And here I see it in Quebec. It's morosity everywhere. People don't have any, they don't want to move. They don't want to move. They don't want to act. They are like in lethargy. They don't, it's very difficult time for all Canadians.
How about this
one? I see that this system is dying slowly, but it takes time.
How about this? This is an easy one. I'm going to predict that the Bloc is going to push for investigations into the previous government because they know that it hurts the Conservative Party and makes them look good. You guys think that's going to happen?
The Bloc, no, the Bloc, they always use, I would say, legislation to get some more advantage. They do not work for Canadian. It's their modus operandi. They cannot work for Canadian. They are for sovereignty. Martine Ouellette, who was the leader of the Bloc 7 years ago, I know her very well because she was an engineer working in Hydro-Québec, and I can guarantee you she was the leader of the Bloc. They pushed her out because she was pushing for independence. I at the time I was saying, at least there's a woman or a politician or a man that gets up and say, this is what we want. This is what you want. Let's go and negotiate it. I want to go out. Then do you have the resource to do it? That's another question. But they pushed her out because she was promoting the independence of Quebec. Be fair. Say you want to do it. At least you know that the other party knows that your intention. Now the Bloc is, dancing the waltz, and it's always the same thing. They push a little bit.
That makes it graft.
Well, they have no intention. They have no intention of,
right. If those in the executive and the leadership of a separatist party intentionally remove actual separatists from the leadership, then it's graft.
Well, the Parti Québécois had the first rule in the constitution of the Parti Québécois was, we make the independence. That was the first rule in the constitution. It was removed in 2020 under the leadership of Jean-François Louis Lisée, and he lost the election in the hands of the Coalition Avenir Québec. But they removed the first amendment of the constitution of the Parti Québécois. The Parti Québécois is a globalist party, like the Coalition Avenir Québec, like the Bloc Québécois on the federal seat. What do you expect?
So then, as the fourth puppet in Parliament, what's their role? How does a pro-separatist party in the parliamentary system, what is their objective? Like, what are their goals? Is their goal just to be a disruptive force, regardless of what's on the table? Just to be disruptive? That's all?
No, it's money. $145,000 salary plus $35,000 of expense yearly, not counting the committees and everything. Yves-François Blanchet is around $400,000 or $500,000 per year on tax money. What do you think? Do you think they vote legislation? The government is in minority now in Ottawa, and they act like they are in a majority. Nobody opposes really. They play their game slowly. If you do not vote against him, I will vote against him this time, but next time it will be your turn. They don't work. They don't vote. They don't work for Canadian. They vote for their pocket.
Let me simplify this. The NDP, they want more communism in the country. The Liberals, they want more progressivism in the country. The Conservatives, they want to play in the same sandbox as the NDP and the Liberals. Yes. And the Bloc, do they just want more money? Is it literally just more money, or do they have a vision of globalism for the country?
No, it's a vision of globalism. The Parti Québécois now, the Coalition Avenir Québec just passed a law to forbid car manufacturer to sell gas car in Quebec, starting today, 2025. The manufacturers cannot, after they will have sold 22% of the car in Quebec, they will have to pay a tax. So you're a citizen, you want to buy a new car.
The government is capping the available
and they will penalize the distributor. So if you arrive in September and you want to go and buy a gas car and they sold their quota, you will pay more. The price will just grow. Yes.
Yeah, see, you just said the word. It's a fucking cartel.
Exactly. And that's not finished. The Parti Québécois now is leading in the poll. And they say that they will just increase the pace if they are elected. The Bloc Québécois agrees with that totally. The carbon tax, the Bloc Québécois always say there's no carbon tax in Quebec. No, it is not true. We have a carbon tax, but it is a different way to calculate it. But we do, and the Bloc say we don't have the carbon tax of Canada, of course, because we have one in Quebec. We're distinct. We're special.
Sorry,
unique.
It's like that bottom disclaimer section, the fine print on sweepstakes and whatnot.
Exactly.
Except in Quebec.
That's it. They screw Canadian that are named Quebecers.
Yeah.
But they still screw Canadian.
So, well, actually, are we just overreacting here? Like,
Yes.
Is there any difference whether the Bloc is in or the NDP? It's just more of the same?
Well, you ask a very pertinent question, Payment. Overreacting. There's one time in life when you say enough. The big difference between an insurrection and a revolution, and Albert Camus wrote about that, it is you step in front of the tyrant and you say, if you stop, we can start to discuss. But if you don't stop, dominate me, I will get up and it will become a revolution. And a revolution will be bloody. There's no such thing as what they call the quiet revolution in Quebec was not a quiet revolution.
No.
There's no such thing as a quiet revolution. So we arrive at a time now where people, they say, we have enough. Stop, and we can discuss. But the next step, and we see it, all the riots everywhere. It's not only here. Everywhere in Brampton, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal. It's everywhere. And it's growing. You feel it, it's growing. So if you say we are overreacting, the answer is simple. Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. And the people that I would say people who would listen to what we're saying, they would say, well, but maybe you will entice people to act violently. No. I'm just describing facts.
That's right.
I'm just observing.
Yeah.
And me too, I'm angry about the situation. Yeah. I don't want this type of Canada.
Yeah, we're a spectator to a history we do not want to participate in.
And maybe we will have to, even if we don't want.
We don't have a choice. I live here.
Yes, exactly. Right. Well, either we fight.
Where am I going to go?
Either we fight
somebody.
No, either we fight for it, or they will fight us.
Yeah. And that goes back to what we usually end the show with, and that's saying this is how you push back. You push back by becoming physically involved in leadership positions in your community, whether it's coaching a hockey team or participating in on reading day in the library. You stand up and you become seen in some form of leadership in your community. A council person, a mayor, school trustee, you find some way to do that, because there are 4,400 municipalities in Canada. There's only one Parliament Hill, right? And so grassroots, we talk about grassroots, we talk about populism or whatnot. Populism will be, or the populist will be that organization or that party that is able to galvanize the grassroots under one unified banner. And that hasn't happened yet. But until that, you have grassroots that can themselves turn the tide on this, but it takes time. They have to become physically involved. And most people don't have the heart, or they don't believe they can do it, or they honestly don't have the time or the money, because some of these things cost time and money, right? You're not going to become a coach of a little league hockey team without putting out a significant amount of personal money and time. Mm-hmm. There's no way around it. You're just going to do that. So the overreacting, absolutely. The hard part is pulling our amygdala out of the equation, right? And thinking with a rational mind. What is the most effective way to do this? And we all know for a fact that ranting and raving on social media, that's just throwing butane at the lighter.
Well, if we would go back in time, we don't have to go back centuries before, but let's say 70 years ago, and we would not have internet, classical media, we would be informed. Let's say we go to church, we go to small shops, we do our job, we meet people. There's no internet. and we discuss with people. So like you mentioned, Timothy, the grassroots movement would have been much more strong at the time, and you would be able to gather people locally and to have a great charismatic leader who will guide them, and then they start to have a more, I would say, provincial or national policies. We cannot now, because the media or I would say the social media are very powerful, but they're isolating us too. Don't forget, 2 weeks to flatten the curve, stay home. Now it is funny because I was in the hospital with my wife, and now it's again the emergency room are completely full, and the government's saying, if you're sick, don't go to the hospital. That's Orwell. And that's a provincial policy. Can you imagine that? You are sick, don't go to the hospital. Save the system. That's the message that they were passing in 2020 when they started what I call the healthcare tyranny.
So then, doing what's best for us means saving the system, not us.
Exactly. That was an official message of the Quebec government.
For whom are they saving the system?
For them.
Not us.
For them. Let's not be naive. And people.
What is the role of the people? Just to fall into serfdom and be happy?
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
There's a really good theory from Mike Benz and a couple of others where they say you have two concepts that are overloaded on the same word, democracy. So one is the plebiscite, will of the people. The other one is democratic institutions that were birthed by democracy at some point, and now it's all about ensuring the success of those institutions. And that's what we saw with 2020, where the people voted for Trump, or even 2016, they voted for Trump, and they're like, "Oh no, we have to get him out to save democracy."
Our democracy.
Well, the concept of democracy is an illusion. It is an illusion. And what you mentioned is very important, because if we think about, we let the people vote, I will go back again to 2005. In France, the people voted 57% against the European Constitution. 2 years after, they signed the Lisbon Treaty with the European Constitution against the will of French citizens. So it's not. It's not
the best
new.
example is Lenin.
No, but it's not. It is not new either. They rigged the election. They manipulate it, and when they lose, they just cancel it. Simple. It works. Like I said, Alberta is stupid enough to pay Quebec. Yes. People are stupid enough to say, okay, you canceled the election. We did not vote correctly. We will go again, and you will vote. You will vote until you vote according to what they want you to vote. That's it. And political party, they play this game. They try to stay honest, but you cannot be honest in a dishonest system. It's very difficult. I remember 30 years ago in Montreal, I took a taxi, and it was a taxi driver from Haiti. And it was before Christmas, and he's driving, and I started talking with him, and he said, poverty in Quebec, in Montreal, is very, very difficult. I said, why you say this? He said, in my country, poverty is everywhere. You don't see it. Here, you see it, because you see differences. Everybody is equal, everybody is poor. But now, what we see, it's exactly the same thing. The system is not only dysfunctional. The structure would be good. It's not the structure. It's how people behave in this system. Everybody follow his own, I would say, self-interest. And we have to change collectively. But it's like Timothée said, if you get involved locally, you meet people. What do you debate, you discuss, you disagree? But you meet people, you meet real people, flesh and blood, with emotions, with sense of humor, and with ideas. What do we do here? We try, but don't forget, we never met each other.
Yeah.
You live in BC, I live in Montreal. Wow, we're great friends. We never met each other.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Maybe you would say, shit, Andre, maybe change your perfume when we would meet, because we have, this is the beauty of social media. but it's also dangerous because it deprives us of our humanity.
You mentioned structures generally in and of themselves are not corrupt because it's a structure.
Because it's a structure.
Because it's a structure, right? The structure is neither good nor bad. It's what it's, it's the purpose. But it reminds me of the living room is a perfectly good living room until you cut a hole in the floor and start cooking supper. Right? So if you're not using the institution for what it is designed, then it is no longer effective. It's still there, but it's no longer effective.
It's not effective.
Commons, the word commons, there's the right, the definition of what's supposed to happen in Parliament is in that word, commons. They're supposed to find what's in common.
House of Common.
Right? And to find what's in common, to have common ground. That's the goal. Yes, the opposition is supposed to oppose, but not all the damn time. They're supposed to find common ground and work because for a long time, people say, "Oh, the government," and they mean whoever the ruling party. They mean the ruling party. They said the government, which is the ruling party. That's not true. All 343 seats are the government.
Exactly.
And the people have lost sight of this. They don't care about it because they bought into the us versus them narrative that allows the opposition to be a bag of dicks and to oppose just for the sake of opposing, right? I'm not in favor of the Trans-Pacific Partnership document, but when Harper introduced it back in 2014-ish, Justin Trudeau said, absolutely not. This is ridiculous. We're not engaging in this. We're not doing that. And then so it ended up being dropped because it became a campaign issue. The Conservatives lost rule of the government. Trudeau stepped in a year after, 2016. He reopened the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement and made it even more draconian and anti-Canadian than it was before. This is not so. The institution is not corrupt. You have insert your favorite expletive here, people who are just grifters, career politicians who have no capacity or interest in doing anything out in the real world other than what we morons out here knee jerk and give them what they want because we're easy to play. Because we're preoccupied with making sure the bills get paid. We're preoccupied with making sure that Johnny gets new shoes before these ones wear out. Because 5 years ago I'd put him in a pair of shoes once a year, and now I'm trying to stretch this pair out because $100 is a lot of money for shoes, and people are legitimately doing this.
And let me push back on that. It is that we took our eye off the ball, but I also think that government's gotten too big. Like if you go online, you can find the first budget bill, 1867. You can kind of understand it. Now, like every single bill has thousands of hours of debates around it.
Yeah.
And it just changes and it goes on forever. And there's like dozens of bills at any given.
Who writes the bill? Do you think any MP sitting in that chair is capable of a 100-page document? 100 pages. No. 100 pages. I've never written 100 pages. Any single MP capable? No. And meanwhile, we have budgets out with 600 pages, 1,800 pages. Who writes that nonsense? The bureaucratic layer. So the bloat is in the bureaucratic layer. And the bureaucratic layer is still executing programs put in 30 years ago.
You mentioned payment, thousands of hours of work or reading, say, bill of law. And first of all, I doubt that they all read it because I think there's a lot of them are illiterate. And that's the first thing. The second thing is when you look at this, you say, how come we take so much time to pass laws? It's because, first of all, if they don't know how to read, they don't know how to write, or they don't know how to express themselves correctly and in a clear manner. So when they debate, when you listen to them in the House of Commons, in the Parliament, it's quite fascinating because they speak, but after 15 minutes, you say, what did I what did I hear?
Yeah.
And it is like, with the French word is logoré. They blah, blah, blah,
Logorrhea,
blah, 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 blah. I'm a writer. I can guarantee you, I'm writing a fairy tale now. I'm up to 20 pages. Like I can make you sleep after five pages. And after 15, you will vote for me. They are specialized because not only they are illiterate, they are ignorant. Do they refer to history? Timothy was talking about the structure is not corrupt. No, because the structure is the structure. The separation of power from Montesquieu is a reality. The judiciary power, the legislation power, and the executive power. That's from Montesquieu, 1700. We have this in our system.
That's the Canadian
system. Exactly. So the structure is correct. The concepts are good. How they are implemented, that's another question. They are so illiterate politically or historically that they don't know how to play with those concepts, and they fight like kids in a schoolyard. They fight for what? You can listen to hours of debates, and after hours you will say, the debate about what? Did you read the bill?
Yeah, I can tell an illustrative story that really puts this to bed. 2021 election here in Chilliwack Hope, the PPC candidate Rob Bogdanovic is in a debate. It might have been 2019, but same thing, same debate, and they were all the candidates were given the questions ahead of time, and one of them was a series of questions on the Truth and Reconciliation document. And so Rob, being a teacher and a teacher of social studies and a teacher of history, very well read the document, so he's prepared, goes into the discussion, and when his question is brought up about the document, he says, I understand what they're trying to achieve in this document, but I would like to know why they use this document to introduce a law to prevent spanking your own child. So he went to go after the red herring, right, to show the weakness in the document, or the what do you call that? Omnibus, right? Jamming.
Omnibus, yes, right? Omnibus bill.
He went to identify the problem with this document. The question went to the Liberal candidate, who said, I can't speak to that because I haven't read it.
You prove my point. You prove my point. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They don't know. And talking about debate, look who's controlling the debate. It's the media. If tomorrow I'm a candidate and I want to have a debate, I don't want to have the media asking me the question. If I have an open statement, I have an open statement, 1 minute, 2 minutes. And after that, the debate, it is between 3, 4, 5 candidate individual. They ask questions. They go deep like we do now. What we do, I can agree with you, but I can disagree with you. And I will say, can you be more precise about this? And I disagree with you for...
Yes.
The media are controlling the narrative all the time in the debate. I'm sorry to say, it's so fucking boring, those debates. I never watch them.
Yeah.
Because they are brainwashing people like it is a great political event. It is a show.
Yeah.
It is a show for the media, and the media controls the narrative.
Yeah. Well, the media has gone from the host to the moderator.
Exactly. Moderator, and soon the censorship.
Well, like you said, once upon a time when people were engaging in debate in the political sphere, even in the academic sphere, because in the 50s and 60s, academic debate was practically superstardom in college and university circles. They used to televise debates.
There is, there is an event that is incredible, and I read an interpretation about it. 1962, the debate between Kennedy and Lyndon B. Johnson. People were listening at the debate on radio, thought that Lyndon B. Johnson won the debate.
Are you talking about Nixon?
No, JFK. The first debate that was televised in the United States was when JFK was elected president. And people who were asked when they were listening to the debate on the radio, they said Johnson won the debate. And when you were asking people who were watching the debate, they said it's Kennedy who won the debate. What has changed? Because people, they were seeing Kennedy the way he was sitting, crossing legs, very sure of himself. The image was important. People who were just listening to the debate said that Johnson was more rational, more elaborate.
Am I having a stroke? I thought the first JFK was JFK and Nixon, and he stole the ballots.
Maybe it was Nixon, but maybe it was Nixon. But this is important. 1962, the way you perceive reality, the fact that you listen, or the fact that you see, and now the fact that we have virtual reality, or the fact that the media will control the time of the intervention. So
then there are two filters.
Yes,
one
exactly.
is the filter presented via the publication medium, and the other is my interpretation of that information.
Exactly.
Right? And so if I'm listening on the radio, I will naturally gravitate to the more fatherly voice.
Exactly, because
naturally gravitate to the more rational language, the more academic language, rationally. But if I'm watching something in person and the man is posing properly and he's making the right movements and he's looking and he knows how to manage the camera, he's making a relationship with whoever's watching the camera. It doesn't, I mean, it matters how he sounds, but he has, it's a force multiplier.
Well, if you would go back to 2021, like I said, I don't watch them because for me, they are useless politically. I don't say they are useless for everybody, but in 2021, you had four candidates. Maxime Bernier was excluded of the debate, but you had the same. It was Andrew Scheer at the time, or Erin O'Toole, I think.
O'Toole.
It was O'Toole.
No, 21 was O'Toole.
21 was O'Toole,
and was Scheer.
Yes, exactly. But you have four people who are challenging each other, but the message is so diluted that they look. Did they disagree about climate change? No, nobody disagreed about climate change. There's no such thing as a consensus over climate. That does not exist except when you are in a structure. They all agree on one idea and they will not debate the scientific fact. They will not.
Yeah.
So we are. So why we refer to the expression uniparty? Because people are starting to feel it.
Yeah.
They say, wait a second, okay, the policies or the narrative changes from one individual to another. That's what they call personality effect instead of the ethical effect. The personality effect, it's the person. The ethical effect will be the message, the rationality of the message, despite no matter what individual there is. You change one politician, you put another one. It's practically the same message, but with another brand.
Yeah, character is who you are.
Exactly. That's very important.
Changes.
That does not
rarely changes. But personality, we say so much character, so much personality. They're different things. We use them interchangeably, but they are different things. Personality is what you are, and your personality changes based on your relationship. Right? You know, and even when I was in sales, out on the sales floor, the way I presented myself to different customers, entirely depended on how I perceived them and how I was able to have them reveal themselves to me so that I could come in close and make a relationship to close a sale.
Yes, but imagine you close the sale and they are not satisfied. It means that you use your personality to convince them to buy something. Instead of, it doesn't mean that you cannot use your personality, but it means that you want to make the sale despite they will be unhappy. What's important is the sale and not their happiness.
Right, and that's the ethical element of character.
Exactly, and that's why you look at politicians today. They always sound ethical, but are they genuine?
No, that's personality.
No. It's their only personality. There's no ethics behind.
Yeah.
That's why I say the system in itself And it is not only politicians. I think in general, we all act like this in a different way. If we start to change and we start to feel more empathy toward people, and we start to change, the system will change slowly. And politicians, one day, they will have, they are image, they are mirror of our own behaviors. It's very sad to say that.
I think this personality effect, is showing Poilievre's true colors as also uniparty, because where O'Toole came out strong conservatively, verbally, and then over the course of a 35-day election, flipped.
He flipped, exactly.
Because he was in the crucible. It happened too fast. He had to move too fast. He wasn't able to effectively craft that transition. Right, so he starts out blue and turns out red. Wasn't able to, and because it happened so fast, it became very obvious to people, and they rejected him. Whereas Poilievre, it's more than 2 years now.
Yes, 2 years. Right?
2 years. 2 years now. He has had because he hasn't been in the crucible.
Well,
he hasn't been under any real serious pressure.
Exactly.
Right? The blue wave has been rising and rising and rising for about 2 years now. He actually caught on to leadership at a very good time, showing up at the tail end of the convoy to come out and shake paw and take advantage of that opportunity after someone else got rid of O'Toole on his behalf, because he wasn't part of that. So then he said, "Oh, there's a hole," and he steps into the hole, and lo and behold, he rides this long, slow wave. So the drawback is the slow blade penetrates the shield. So that him being exposed to the public as our savior for so long is now revealing times when he has said something a year and a half ago. Now that, for example, his statements on housing crisis and the immigration crisis are now starting to backfire on him, and he's losing ground from his blue supporters, even though they're continuing to vote blue because they just want to get rid of Trudeau. So his personality has been well, I can't even say it's consistent, because look at pictures of him when he first stepped into leadership, and look at pictures of him now. He has made a physical transformation.
Well, then you have a lot of Photoshop too,
right?
Look at biceps.
I can look very muscular too.
Things like changing.
Give me 15 minutes, and you will not recognize me.
And not getting contacts instead of glasses. So he's right and looking less academic. He's
right?
making an effort to look more blue collar.
That's interesting, because Michael Ignatieff who is a university teacher, very, very elaborate man. I don't like the man. I don't like the idea, but I have to give him something. He was an academic, and he lost because he was like that. He could not adapt to the popular image like Poilievre does. I will defend politicians for one time. I bitch them all the time, but I will defend them. When I say they are ignorant, it's not pejorative. They are a product of the system. The system had produced a lot of ignorance toward education, and politically it's the same thing. You have people who get out from university in what they call political science. Political science is an oxymoron. You have science that is fundamental fact, and politics, it is the art of language, which is interpretation. This is two different systems. And you are either a scientist or you're a politician. And if you're a wise politician, like Machiavelli said, you will surround yourself with scientists, with rational ideas that will help you. And then as a person who will make it more easy, more popular to understand, you will vulgarize the message. That would be a good complement between the politics and the science. But it's not what you have. You have people who pretend to be political scientists. That does not exist. This is a construction.
I'm pretty sure that political science is a creation born out of Isaac Asimov's Foundation and Earth.
That's
right?
that's a
Because
that's
and another, I think it was in that where there's a passage that I had read this when I was a teenager, where the political scientist in Foundation, the first novel, his job is to go to political speeches and political debates, and he has an algorithm and he has formulas, and he takes their words and dumps it into his calculator, his computer, and then if the number comes out plus or minus, then they know where they stand on a particular issue. Just by using the statistical mathematics about word choices and whatnot. That's and we have people literally. Well, that's what a poll is, right?
Yes.
When they make it this when Maxime Bernier accuses the Blues and the Reds of making decisions or policies based on polls. So once there's a new poll, boom, there's a new. So when the wind moves, the party will move. Right, the Blues or the Reds will move in pace, keep pace with that poll. That's the same thing. Same thing.
You know what you're mentioning about the polls? I wrote in one of my essay about modelization. We take the model as reality. Well, during the pandemic, they were doing models of the spreading the virus, how it will be. In UK, they were saying that they will have 5 million dead after 3 months, and it was a cataclysm, and that will show the lack of maturity of people. You use a model, you use a poll, and you try to extrapolate to help people think and take rational decision. But no, people, they follow the poll because they lack the effort of, I would say, smart thinking. So if people are mature, they will use the tool, polling system, they will use the model, and after that, they will not apply it directly on reality. They will try to understand reality with it and not being, I would say, instrumentalized by it. Yeah. That's a big difference. And most people, they cannot understand. They follow the polls. They don't think. Difficult.
Say, in wrapping up the show, Tim, do you have any nice words for Marco Mendicino?
No. Not like was he not the Minister of Public Safety during the convoy?
And he was the one who wanted to send the RCMP to arrest the trucker in Ottawa.
Really?
Yes. So and he denied it after.
Did he not lie during in their own investigation? Did he not lie?
Yes.
That's what this says. Yeah. Lying that the police requested it.
Yeah, so no, I want him arrested for lying under oath, dereliction of duty, right?
Well, what about David Lametti? He's supposed to be advising the government, and he advised them to do something illegal.
Right, but we're only talking about this fella. I got 337 more to go.
Timothy, you just mentioned something. You want him arrested because he lied under oath.
Yes.
Do we have a mechanism in Canada for that?
No.
So you answer your question. Your desire are not reality. We don't have a political mechanism for that.
Like you had mentioned early on, we're making emotional decisions. We're being overreactive. We're thinking with our amygdala and not thinking with the truth that's in front of us and the tools that are available to us. There are no tools available to us to punish these men and women. They will get away with it. The only way to punish them effectively is to replace these SOBs at the voting polls.
I hope we will be able to do it.
All 338 of them. Yeah. So he writes a 2-page apology, basically, to whom, and then he publishes it publicly. Once upon a time,
it was on X.
Once upon a time, if somebody wrote a resignation letter to their boss, they kept it on the down low because they still had an ounce of dignity.
Exactly. It was on X.
Yeah, look at this. It's like he had to run to the toilet. Please see my statement.
Right? So, and it's just I'm not even.
But that's another tendency. People they publish everything on social media. They publish their life, and I have a friend who was publishing pictures of her house and beautiful house and everything, and she had jewels in her house, and 2 days after she was robbed.
That's right.
She started to complain. I want to say, do you think they're only nice people watching your house?
Yes, she does. Because only nice people watch cat videos.
Well, it was. Yeah, that's what you think,
right? Yeah.
Tim, you said something. Voting these bastards out.
I take it back. I don't mean it.
No. What I'm wondering is what percentage of these bad people, these motherfucking legislators that destroyed our country. Sorry, what percentage of them are going to get reelected? Like, is it astronomical? Like 90% of these monsters are going to get their pension?
Well,
it's good. He's asking difficult questions.
Yes, it is. It is. A very high percentage of existing conservative MPs will be reelected. A very high percentage of existing bloc will be reelected. A very high percentage of existing NDP will be reelected. Some in those circles will be not reelected. and so
I bring this up for a specific reason.
Probably 2/3 of them will stay in the keep their seat.
The reason I bring it up, BC election we just had.
Yeah.
A lot of the good guys got pushed out.
Yep.
And they brought in these swamp donkey holdovers from the BC United. They're basically liberals. So it's like the perception of progress, but you still got the same jackals in office.
Well, let's look at let's say Conservative Party, Leslyn Lewis and Roman Babar, right? They're supposed to be outspoken Christians.
They're not.
Right? They're supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
They're still sitting in their chair after all of this. They're supposed to be, right? So I think they'll be made an offer. Quit fighting me or go home. And I think they'll go home.
So Roman Babar, I thought he was Jewish, but in any case, Leslyn Lewis, they have to keep her to give the impression that they're actually conservative. So
well,
like,
Leslyn Lewis, she was.
They keep her, it won't be because she's Christian. It'll be because she's a woman and because she's black.
Exactly. That's no.
I mean it. I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that
payment.
She's entirely capable. She deserves a seat. I don't have much trouble with her, other than she should have quit after they hired Pierre, not her. Yeah. She should have just left. And so should Babar. They should have gone, well, okay, I'm done now. I can't support where you guys are going. They should have stepped up during the convoy. They should have said, enough. I'm going out to meet them.
No matter what the party line. I agree with you.
I see the error of my ways, right? And they did not. So I think that when they qualify for their MP pension, they will be asked to leave. Because right now, they don't need those two particular members of those two preferred demographics. They don't need them because they got 240 more.
Well, I go back again to personality effect. Leslyn Lewis's personality effect. I followed her a couple of months before the leadership race, and she was rational, and I said, wow, I like this woman. She's a doctor, and it was during the pandemic, and she was critical of many aspects. And suddenly, when she had the debate in French, it was a completely catastrophe. She doesn't speak French at all. I'm sorry, you don't speak French, you're not prime minister. That's simple. You have to be bilingual,
isn't it?
Because there are two founding people. That's the first thing. The second thing, when she started to change after the election of Poilievre, was astonishing. How she changed the policies. Of course, you say, okay, I lost. Poilievre is my new leader. I will support him, but I will not lose my individuality. And during the convoy, I can refer to the abortion. Nobody wants to talk abortion in Canada because they walk on eggs. And when the party says we will not do a legislation on abortion, and members of my party can vote according to their conscience.
Right.
So during the Freedom Convoy, the real leader could have said, according to your conscience, if you really want to go and talk to the truckers, you will not break the line of the party. You are free. Right? You are free to do it. I will not. Maybe I can disagree, but you have the right to do it. And they did not do it. And for me, she lost my trust.
2021 election, the CPC candidate in the Yukon was dumped because he questioned the vaccine program.
Exactly. So that was censorship from
campaign.
Let's put this in context. Like I'm not defending the Conservative Party, but if we look at they're all uniparty.
Yeah.
NDP, Liberal, Conservative, and uniparty literally means that all of your messaging goes through the media.
Yep.
It's like the three of them get together. They say, you know what? We want to control the messaging, so everything has to go through the media, and the media will be our referee. And under those rules, they can't question the vaccine, and they can't support the truckers.
That's the Communist Party. That's the Communist Party in 1925, and I can guarantee you when you look at the party now, I'm sorry, you want to do politics, you can follow the line of the party, but if it goes against your conscience, you forget the party. That's simple.
But what I'm trying to say is it's not the party's fault; it's our fault. Nothing is stopping us from voting PPC or independent.
Yes.
But we're like, you know what? We get 4K video through CBC.
But Leslyn Lewis, she was not strong enough in a ethic effect. She was not strong enough to stand up and to go and fight where she would have won freedom. Freedom of speech. I can't disagree with you, but you have to let me speak. And I will let Timothy speak now.
No. This is really important. We talk about people who have become career politicians. And I figure if you sat in there more than 2 times, you are a career. And in that time, you did not learn how to manage a camera. In that time, you don't know how to own the microphone. In that time, you don't know how to take care of your own PR. After 4 years of sitting in one of the hottest seats in North America, you haven't figured out that you have the tools available to you to own every podium that you stand in front of, that she could easily, and there are others, it's just she happens to be the loudest one. There are others. She could have easily said, I'm going to become leader of the party. O'Toole's on his way out. I've heard scuttlebutt. He's going to be done. It'll take about 3 days. I'm going to make my way. I will be the first Black woman prime president of Canada. I'm going to go out. I'm going to walk straight. I'm going to have a camera out there, and nobody will know it's there. It'll be just like the swastika flag. Nobody will know, right? I'll have one out there, and I'll walk straight down Parliament Hill out on the main grass. I'll walk right past the eternal flame, right through the gates, stand at the steps and say, send me your poor, send me your oppressed, and make the speech. And I'll be Queen of Canada next week. And she did.
Before Barack Obama.
Didn't.
You know, there was one other MP of the CPC that was kicked out. It was Derek Sloan. And Derek Sloan, I followed him directly from the beginning, because he was in the the Conservative leadership race.
Yes.
And after that he was kicked out because he went against the narrative. I don't call this narrative today. I call it censorship.
Quick question: how do you get? Who has the authority to kick somebody out of the Conservative Party?
Party executive.
Oh, that's interesting.
The executive of the party. Remember that you are effectively an employee of the party.
You have more power than the politician.
The party, as far as your coming and going as an MP, has more control over you than the government or even the judicial system. Because if the party wants to hang you out to dry, they can let the cops know. Right? If the party wants to hang you out to dry, when you make a faux pas, the party won't provide your PR and do your damage control for you. Right? For example, if you're not performing well as a candidate or as an MP, your local EDA has the authority to petition the party executive to have you removed. And with just cause, sometimes unjust, you can be removed. And
that's kind of remarkable, yeah.
That was the means by which the Yukon Conservative candidate was removed. Right?
You know,
these public statements, and it was O'Toole at the time said, nope, not happening. But he alone could not do. The leader of the party alone could. An executive usually
he has power, but he doesn't have all the power.
Right. There is a protocol. There's a protocol, right? So O'Toole says, no, that guy's not sitting in a blue chair, not happening. Go find someone else. Right. So then he has to go and talk to his executive, their party headquarters, and say, I want you to sort this out. And so party headquarters then revokes his candidate application or candidate registration by leveling a complaint with Elections Canada.
Right. When you refer to that, Timothy, the first word that comes in my mind is establishment. Yeah. You know the word establishment. The fact that you talk about the executive of the party, they have the right to decide. So based on the Constitution, based on rules in the Constitution. And then after that, you have a traffic of influence. People, they influence each other, lobbies.
Yeah. The Elections Act provides for all this because it's a good document. It's robust, right? Elections Canada, by and large, is doing well enough. I mean, they made their screw-ups, but I don't crucify them entirely because they were at half staff when Justin called the snap election in 21. Because so many of them were home, right? The security.
Because of the.
It took Elections Canada 2 weeks to catch up to its protocol, what it needed to provide, the parties, etc. So, but that system, that establishment, is actually more robust than the government itself.
Sorry, breaking news. We may have our first audience question of the show, and it's an angry question for Andre. I don't think he's a supporter, but Andre Meloche, if the Liberal Party collapses, civilization will collapse with it. What nonsense! The problem with intellectuals is that their products are ideas that are never verified against reality. I think he's criticizing you as the intellectual.
Yes, I suppose.
His use of English, not his use of the idea he was trying to express.
Well, what nonsense! It's an opinion. He's entitled to disagree. I never said that it was a reality. I mentioned the fact that we were talking about modelization. I express an opinion and hypothesis based on what we are seeing now. We are seeing the collapse of the Western civilization, and many people don't want to see it. I disagree with him. If he doesn't want to see it, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
Well, he can argue on that. He can debate on that. When he's saying this, he's not bringing any fact.
Yeah.
Bring me facts. Look at the debt of the United States. Look at the debt of Canada. Look at the turmoil in France, in Germany. Well, I'm talking about the civilization, Western civilization. He can debate on that. That's the important thing. But when he starts his statement with what nonsense, it's quite fascinating. It's quite fascinating. And I don't pretend to be an intellectual. That's maybe another mistake that he's making.
And based on the graph, the poll we were looking at, when I see the Liberals collapse as heavily as this projection model appears to be, Canada is going to be in a lot of trouble, and collapse is not too far from because we talked for probably 40 minutes about what growth in the bloc represents, as if it was the official opposition. That looks like collapse to me. Certainly collapse of what existed prior.
Well, maybe the word collapse is too strong. I can apologize because my first language is French, so maybe I would be more eloquent in French and more subtle in French. But when you look at the collapse of a civilization or the collapse of a system, Timothy, you mentioned that the system is not broken because the structure is solid.
Yes.
It's the individuals that are not acting properly. We're all responsible for that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I must have been daydreaming because I didn't hear you say that. Man, you have a lot of people that don't like you, Andre. Death of Canada? Yeah, right. We are not dead. I cannot assume.
There is no suggestion that we are dead. There's, I mean,
we're not dead.
If we felt that we are dead as Canada, why would we suggest people become very active in their home communities, right? Why would we suggest that we restore Canada back to sensibility from the ground up?
I like the comment. I like the comment. But you know me, I speak French.
Yeah, Quebec
I
French.
Speak French. Angry Canadian. I think she doesn't speak French.
Yeah.
No, and the other thing is, okay, dead. Canada is dead. Okay, we are number 1 in the world now for MAID.
That's very true. In many ways, we are leading the death charts.
Well, those are facts. Those are not what Michael Jones calls categories of the mind. Those are statistically fact.
Yeah. Okay, we're good. I don't want to go off on rabbit trails.
No, it's not. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the good news about
anyway, we will have more viewers maybe.
People are welcome to speak their mind. And
of course.
Yeah. So you want to disagree with me or disagree with Andre? It's okay to disagree with Andre. You have my approval.
Yes.
Just don't disagree with me.
No, don't disagree with me.
No, but disagreeing is one thing. After that, being diplomatic. But don't forget that we have a panel here. We express ideas. I'm not afraid to express ideas and to be challenged for those ideas. But like we were saying at the beginning of the panel of the show, you said, okay, maybe we are overreacting. Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
I am angry.
Yes, we are.
We have a Telegram channel. What's the title of the Telegram channel? Three Angry Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember?
For the record, that I wanted the title of the show to be 3 Angry Men, but somebody overruled me.
No, but the idea is true. Sometimes we have, you know what? We are entitled to be angry. Angriness is not aggressivity. It's 2 different categories.
Just laughing in the comments. All right. Well, I think we had a really good run at it this episode. It was great. And I look forward to meeting you guys next week.
Yep. Hour and a half. I need coffee.
It will be a pleasure.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, the convoy does live, Angry Canadian.
Happy New Year's. Bonne année.
Yes. Happy New Year's, Angry Canadian, and all the audience members. Goodbye, everyone.
All 6 of them.